You ought to know this.
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us on this special edition of Owning Your Own Homes. Happy Valentine's Day to all our viewers all over the world and on YouTube. And happy, what's today again? Ash Wednesday. To
Ash Wednesday, yes.
Ash Wednesday.
It's Valentine's Day and Ash Wednesday, yes.
Together. And to all the Christians all over the world, we thank you so very much for joining us. Today, we're going to talk about the most important aspect of owning your own home, which is credit part. We all know you cannot buy anything without at least 580. Correct me if I'm wrong. You are the
580 is about the low end of the spectrum there.
That's the lowest,
right.
Before you can even buy a piece of chewing gum.
Right.
So I've partnered with Good Credit Restoration Company, MWR, and we have Mr. Leon Copeland here to enlighten us, those of us that have less than perfect credit, because I've been approached so many times. People come to me and say, Comfort, I want to buy a home, but my credit is bad. And on this show, we don't use the B word.
There's no such thing as bad credit.
No B word.
That's right.
That's a curse word. No bad credit. We all, know about challenge credit. So I've hired the expert in the field to let us know what needs to be done, how we have to go about it to get finance, because you need a mortgage and you have to be credit worthy in order to get a loan to purchase your home. So I'm going to hand over to the expert in that field to enlighten us what we have to do so that we can eradicate this problem. Coming to me and Comfort, I want to buy a home, I don't have good credit or bad credit. We don't, that's a curse word. B word, we don't use it on this show. So I will hand over to Mr. Copeland to tell us the whole process from A to Z.
Good afternoon, future homeowners. We're going to talk about the facts about credit. Okay, most Americans have begun using credit as the new way to supplement their income. Mm-hmm. Over 80% of Americans have credit challenges or no credit at all, according to CNBC. The question is, are you paying the price through higher interest rates, mm-hmm. higher down payments,
yes.
higher insurance premiums, mm-hmm. or the inability to finance good credit, which is business, real estate, or a home? And you're leaving with less money to invest. Mm-hmm. So our program is called Credit Max, and we have a program where you're able to improve your credit scores 50 to 150 points on average. You're able to remove or correct negative credit items. We have credit counseling and credit rebuilding and ID theft correction.
Okay.
The facts, credit, again, most Americans have begun using credit as the new way to supplement their income. So in terms of debt, you're paying a higher interest rate, non-deductible. Consumer debt is actually stealing the future of the American family. So Americans consumers owe approximately $11.16 trillion in debt.
Wow,
the average person will pay over $600,000 in interest over their lifetime.
Wow.
After losing a third of their income in taxes, millions of people lose another third in debt and interest trying to make up the difference.
Oh boy.
This charge it mindset era, which is buy now and pay later, mm-hmm. has been burned into the American psyche by the credit and banking industry, encouraging Americans to finance a lifestyle that most will never be able to own. This way of thinking has you paying or working for the banks instead of working for you. As long as you're paying interest, you'll never enjoy the benefits of earning it. So I would love for you to go to MWR financial.com/comfort buyers research to enroll with the Credit Max program.
Comfort Buyers Outreach.
Comfort Buyers Outreach.
That's really exciting stuff. We talk about wealth generation, right? One of the
Yes.
things we talk about in home ownership, we want to help people take that first step to building generational wealth and accumulating assets for their financial future. But one of the misunderstood things, and these are banking secrets, so if I see you in the banking world, I really didn't tell you these things. So, one of the challenges you have, and you talked about it, is people don't really understand debt, right? That's a
No.
problem.
Right.
And I can prove it to you. You see people that have hit the lottery or are professional athletes,
They
and they
go
make
bankrupt.
20, 30, 40 million dollars, and they go bankrupt.
Yeah.
It's not because they didn't have the assets. What they didn't have is a true understanding of how to use debt.
That's
manage
correct.
their wealth.
And when you were talking about your slides, there's a couple basic concepts that people need to understand. One, there's a concept of good debt, there's a concept of bad debt. And I define them two very simple ways, and you had them on your slide, right? Good debt is low interest debt that's tax favored.
Correct.
That's mortgage debt, it's home equity line debt. Bad debt is basically everything else, right? we talk about credit cards.
Charge.
Right. Your
Charge
credit
till you
card's
drop.
average interest rate is 22%. I do a lot of financial work with people.
Yeah.
And they always tell me, oh yeah, my credit card's 8%. Not true, right? There's a thing called universal default rate. And what the universal default rate is, it's embedded in your agreement, right? I always tell clients all the time, large print giveth, fine print taketh away.
Wow.
So what happens is you got a 0% interest rate. It's great. And clients say, oh, I'm not paying any interest. Now, what do you think clients look at when they get their credit card statement? What do you think? Take a guess.
Well, they definitely don't look at the rate.
No, they don't look at the rate. They don't look at the rate. They don't look at the interest payment. They look at the monthly payment.
Monthly
Yes.
payment. Okay.
And you know what?
Minimum
As bankers,
monthly payment.
that's what we want you to do, right?
Yes.
We want you to look at
Minimum.
the minimum monthly
Right,
payment.
Right.
The universal default rate is this.
So they owe you.
Right. Make your payment late one time. Now, it doesn't mean it has to be 30 days late. You just missed your due date. Oh, I'm sorry. You violated the terms of the agreement.
Yes.
Your universal default rate, your interest rate,
Wow.
24%.
Slap it
They're
on
not
you.
sending you a notice saying, hey, Leon, congratulations, you're paying 24%. They
Right.
just change your interest rate.
Change rate. Okay.
Most people don't know because they look at their payment and that's all they look at because that's all they
Right.
care about.
Wow.
They have the ability to run your credit, and if your credit has changed based on what they approved you, oh, wait a minute, now you're at universal default rate. No lender out there, once again, banking secrets that I really didn't tell you. No lender out there says,
They
I'm going to
hear
give you a
from your
0%
mouth.
credit rate forever. It's not going to happen, right? So these are little tricks of the trade where they get you into the credit piece and then they change the rules on you,
Wow.
and they're counting on you not to notice.
Yes.
Yeah, so part of the challenge is, and this is why I help people in Comfort, you talked about it. We
Yes.
never say bad credit, right?
No.
Nobody ever has bad credit.
We
and
don't use the
it raises
B
a dozen
words.
issues. You have a credit. We have a credit challenge, right? So
Correct.
Leanne, you and I
Credit
talked,
challenge.
right? I grew up in Prince George's County, went to Sinton High School, and then I went to college. And one thing you didn't take was understanding credit or basic credit or understanding your credit.
That's
that didn't
right.
work. I was a finance major, but
Wow.
nobody talked to you about your own individual credit.
Wow.
Right? I learned
Okay.
about credit when I got my first credit card, and then realized they sent me a bill. Oh, okay. I don't have a
I
job.
have to pay.
Right, I got a credit card I got to pay, right? So, like, how does this work? So I learned, by trial and error, and I'm sure I made decisions that did not help me from a credit score standpoint. So
Right.
when we talk to clients, I think there's a couple things you need to understand, right? Is credit is never bad, it's challenged, right? There's a pathway, which you just went through in
Absolutely.
your thing, a pathway
Credit
to improve your credit.
restoration.
Credit scores, people don't understand, are a snapshot in time, right? So what's happening on your credit report right when we pull it, and it's a lot of factors. It's delinquency, it's usage, it's types of accounts you have, right?
Right.
All of these things go into calculating your score. If you can change those things, like you said, in our slides, we talk about a partner to help you improve that process, you can move your credit score up 50, 100, 150, 200 basis points and go from being where you can't qualify to where you can qualify. But what do you need? You need a partner.
You need a partner.
Right? You need a partner to help you. It's probably not a fair analogy, but I use it sometimes. It's almost like those who are members of AA. You need a sponsor. You need somebody to help you. You need
Yes.
a coach
Good point.
to go through that process.
Yes,
And
yes.
That's where we come in.
right, that's where we come in, and
Yes.
you need that. You can't go alone, right? Because no one's teaching you, right? Now, you may have inexperienced loan officers say, "Oh, pay these 3 accounts off." That might be completely wrong, right? And I'll give you a reason why. 30% of your credit score is driven off of what they call ratio, right? Ratio is how much of your credit is used and available to your balance, right? So you could actually do yourself harm by paying off your credit cards, and you only have one card, but it's at a 90% usage.
Wow.
That's going to negatively impact your
They
score.
just want you to have it. They don't want you to use
Right.
it.
So maybe the strategy would be keep the 3 cards,
Okay.
but move the balances around so each of them are under 30%.
Okay.
Right? Sometimes I tell people, no, I don't want you to pay anything off. I want you to get a new one. Why would you do that? Well, because I want you to split the balance over 2 or 3 cards to get
Exactly.
your ratio down, because that's 30% of your score.
Right. Right.
35% of your score is your payments, right? And I can't control that. You got to make your payments on time. Now, part of it is time and distance, right? When we talk about the plan that we have with MWR to work with you, is if you had recent late payments, we may have to set the plan where you're budgeting correctly and making your payments on time.
Exactly.
While we're balancing your other factors, right?
Yes.
Right.
So a lot of people just don't get the right information
Right.
in helping with their credit. And I think also people don't realize it really is. 2 things I believe in, right? I think taxes, not understanding taxes, and not understanding credit are the 2 biggest thefts of wealth in the country, right? People are really happy paying 22% of credit card, and they don't even think about it, right? Why? Because they think about the monthly payment.
Monthly payment.
Anybody you ever been to Atlantic City or Las Vegas?
Yes.
Okay. What do they gamble with? Do they gamble with cash?
No.
What do they give you?
Tokens.
They give you tokens, right? Tokens aren't painful, right?
No.
If you had if you had $100 right on the table, and the dealer said you lost, give me that $100. You're going, whoa, that's $100 you just took from me.
Right.
It's a chip.
It's a
Hey,
chip.
grab my chip. Oh, it's a chip.
Right. Right.
Credit same way.
Right.
It's a card, right?
Wow.
A lot of times when I work with clients and help them get the credit and say, look,
It's a
pay with cash, you determine whether you really want it or not, right?
Yes.
If you got to go put out 320s,
Cash is the best.
right, to buy that tie, you go, well, maybe I don't want it. But when you go credit, it's easy.
It facilitates impulse
It
buying.
facilitates impulse buying.
Buy now
And because
and pay
it's
later.
just like a chip, right?
Yes.
It doesn't
Like a
hurt. And here's a little trick, right? If people are sending you things in the mail all the time for you to use it, it's probably not in your best interest. It might
No.
be in their best
Their
interest.
best
Yes.
interest. Wow.
So here's a trick, and all of our listeners. When you go to Macy's, or you go to Best Buy, or you go to wherever, and you want to buy something, what is the first question they ask you? Do you want to put this on
Card
your best?
or
Right. You want it
credit.
not
That's right.
a credit. It's their credit.
Okay.
Right.
Credit.
You want to put this on your Best Buy
That's
card. You want to put this on your Macy's
Macy's
card.
card.
Right. And then if you say no, I don't have one. Oh, well, we'll give you 10% off if you get a
today.
Macy's card. Right? Well, I got news for everybody.
I
Right.
didn't know that.
They're not doing it for your benefit. Right.
Right.
Because they like you.
Right. If they give you a 10%
Out of
discount.
goodness
right,
of their heart.
Exactly. They know at 20% you're going to make the minimum payment.
I know.
And it's going to be 2-3 years before you pay
100%
it
back.
off. Right. They're going to make more money. There's actually a pretty cute commercial. I don't know who does it now, but it's also talking about that where the couple's out to dinner. Oh, it's a great dinner, and it's only going to cost us $680 with the credit card interest that we're paying on it, right? Because we don't think of it that way. Right? We think
Wow.
about it. Hey, it's not painful.
Right.
Let's do this so we make decisions that get us into the bad
Helpful.
place. So, a part of it is, and I think there's a lot of bad information out there, right, on what to do with credit. Because where do you turn, right? When we talk about what we can do at MWR and helping building wealth, one of the components is the Credit Max and helping you structure your debt appropriately, because it's not just fixing what's challenged about your credit, it's also structuring it for success.
That's right.
What's interesting in what we do, if you look at the credit scoring components, what goes into credit scoring, right? So it's late payments and it's 30% of usage. The other component of it is type of debt, right? So is the hierarchy of debt that you have, is it the right debt, right? And that's what we're talking about on our slides, right? Helping you understand how your debt should be structured.
Wow.
Right? Is it retail, high interest credit card that you get no value in, and that's going to negatively impact your score?
Correct.
Or is it mortgage debt or home equity line debt or installment debt that's lower credit and more of a type of credit?
Exactly.
Those things people don't even know. Oh, I got 3 Macy's cards and a bit. Right.
Right.
You know what? those are the worst cards. I'm not picking on Macy's and Best Buy, but they're the worst cards to
You're
have,
talking
right?
from experience.
Right. I do a thing called the pyramid of debt, right? How's
Yes.
your debt supposed to be structured, right? So mortgage debt should be the most, then home equity line, then installment debts, and then it goes to different types of credit cards.
Yes.
The worst is what we would call a retail credit, which is the Best Buys and Macy's, because it's definitely the highest interest rate.
Very
right?
high.
And
It's unsecured.
It's unsecured. It's the
Yeah.
highest interest rate, and it's viewed worse in the credit scoring hierarchy than say a Visa or American Express or those types of
Wow.
things. So, what we can do with MWR is help you structure your debt correctly, so you have the right foundation, right? Because
Okay.
That's right.
that's the first step. Wealth accumulation. When you have a balance sheet, a financial statement, right?
Yes.
There's two sides of it, right? There is asset side, and then there is a liability side,
Liability.
right? So
Yes.
a lot of folks just focus on the asset side. They don't focus on management of the liability side. And one thing I believe in, and we believe in it at MWR, is that the management of the liability side is just as important as managing
Absolutely.
the asset side, right?
Absolutely.
So, everybody wants to know what the stock market did today, right? Nobody's saying, hey, what did credit card interest do today? Well, it's just as important, right?
It is.
Of
It
course.
is.
Because it's taking as much money,
Yes.
right, as a
Equally
downturn in the
important.
stock market, right?
Yes.
But we're not
Wow.
conditioned to ask for that,
No,
right?
we're not.
So that awareness of how do you work with the credit pieces and how does it work, right? Banking secret is these are things that we don't want you to know. Banker secret again, right? Because, right?
You had it from the loan
Right.
officer.
Well, I mean, the reality is you go,
You had it from,
right? You
Yes,
go, you
yes.
drive
from
into
the
a
horse's
big-
mouth.
right? You see these
That's
big
right.
giant buildings,
Yes.
and it's great. You look up at the top of it, and it says bank, right? Because that's what they do, right? And
Yeah,
look,
bank.
credit is you can't get anywhere in this country without
Without-
credit. You need it,
You need it.
right? You need
Wow,
it. And,
that's right.
Well, you're going to Virginia Beach. You're going to book a hotel. Hey, I want to make reservations for Friday. What do they ask you for?
Credit
Credit
card.
card. You can't call them up and say, "Yeah, I'm gonna send $100 of cash tomorrow. Will you hold the room?" It doesn't work, right?
Doesn't work.
You can't function in today's world without credit, right? It's impossible. You have to use it,
Yes.
but what do you need to know? You need to know how
How
to use
to
it.
use it. That's
Right.
correct.
That's the piece because you can't get around without it. It's impossible. You can't rent a car without a credit card. Can't get a hotel room without a credit card. Right? Just doesn't happen.
Correct.
You can't buy a house without good credit.
No.
Right? So it's coming at us every day. What
Every
we
day.
do.
It is.
Hitting us in our
Right.
face.
What you need is the tool,
The tools.
right?
To
Which
restore your
is
credit.
first thing you do is go to the website, which is
www.mwr
right.
Financial.
financial.com
.com
Right.
slash comfort buyers outreach.
Right,
That's
because
correct.
what you want to do is you want to start your path. Now, for our listeners, here's what I can tell you. I do seminars all over the country, and a lot of you are sitting out there going, "Yeah, but I really have challenge credit, right? It's not going to help me, right?" The reality is, here's what the statistics are now, folks. Age 39 and under, which are the millennials, right now, over 40% of you have credit scores below 620. Right, 620 is basic minimum for qualification for mortgage financing. Now we can go lower than that,
580.
right? We can go 580, but that's going to require additional down payment. It's
Yes.
going to require a little higher interest rate.
Yes.
So really, the benchmark you want to get to is 620. Now,
At least.
for those of you that have lower credit, and you want to start the process right now, we can help you because we can go lower. But 620 is the number. That's the magic number that you want to get to. So when we look at this, for those of you sitting out there saying it's impossible, it's going to take me forever, the reality is
No.
you're not alone. Over 40% of people under the age of 39 have credit scores below 620. Why? Because they're just making decisions in the normal course of the day that they don't know whether they're negatively or positively affecting their credit score. Not their fault.
Right.
Right? It's just what they're designed. It's designed to be what happens, right?
Right.
So that tells you you're not alone. I like people to understand, right? Because they sit there and listen, and when I do seminars, they're like, really, but I'm the only one here that my credit's
Yeah.
challenged. I can tell you right now, half the room
That's right.
is facing with the same challenge as you.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And that's not a bad thing, right?
That's right.
So what you need, though, is you need a partner. And that's
Yes.
where we come in, and MWR comes in to start you on that wealth accumulation phase, which is dealing with your credit at first.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Now, here's the other thing. You can't wait, right?
No.
We hear
Can't wait.
this all the time, right? Well, yeah, I'm going to fix my
I'll
credit.
wait.
Or I'm going to fix my credit, then
Yeah.
I'm getting ready to buy.
Mm.
Okay, well, how? How are you going to fix your credit? By doing the same thing you're doing now. What's the definition of insanity, right?
Doing the same thing
over and over
again
and
expecting a different result. Right. So
It's not going to happen.
correct. So I'm going to stay at home and watch Oprah and Ellen and do whatever, and my credit's going to get better.
It doesn't work like that.
Right? It doesn't work that way. I wish it did, right?
Right.
But it doesn't, right? So what do we need to do is you need to take that first step, and that first step is reaching out to us and saying, hey, I'm ready. Now, here's what we believe in is that everybody out there can get their credit where they need it to be a
Yes.
homeowner, right? Everybody out there can be a
You have
homeowner.
to be
right?
motivated.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a function of things. We talked about it last time. It's time, motivation,
Motivation.
equals home ownership, right?
Yes.
So what do I know? That if you have a challenge credit, that's fine. What you need to do is you need to work with us, and we create a time and a credit repair plan with MWR to get you on that path to getting your credit score you want to be. The other function is understanding that it does take time, right? It could be 30 days, it could be 60, it could be 6 months. We don't know. But what we have to do is work together to create what we call the credit repair plan, working with MWR, lining things out. How is your debt structured? How do we maximize it? What budget should you be on? What debt should we pay down first? How do we start creating that path, not only to improve your credit score, but also reduce the cost of your credit so you can actually start putting money away to buy a home, right? Because one of the nice things about this plan is we identify what you need to work on, but we also identify what you can do to improve your cash flow.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Right? Because
Absolutely.
that's a real big part of it,
Real
right?
big part of
Yes,
it. Absolutely.
And because that's where honestly, that's where wealth is just kind of eroding, right? People just keep making the minimum payment. We're 22%. They're happy to do that.
Right.
I think I saw one statistic. If you had a $5,000 credit card balance at 18%, and you made the minimum payment, it was going to take you 27 years to pay it off.
Wow.
Or longer.
And you know what most people say? It's short-term debt. Oh, okay. Right. They go, mortgage is 30-year debt, but my credit card
They
is
own
short-term
you.
debt.
Wow.
No, it's not,
No, it's
right?
They own you.
They do, and they don't. And honestly, here's another trick that credit card people do. The reality is
They don't even want you to.
they don't
pay.
ever want you. It's like a
That's
trap, right?
Wow.
Well, here's proof, right? And I'm sure everybody that's called and has had this happen to them. You have a $2,000 credit card, right? It's a Visa card,
Yes.
for example, and you've paid it perfectly, and now you've run it up to $1,800. So you only have $200 left, right?
Right.
What do you get in the mail? You get a note from them. You get a letter.
That's it.
Congratulations, Leon. We've just extended your max credit from 2,000 to 3,000.
Yes.
Right? They're not going to cap you if you paid them on time. They're not
Right.
going to say we're going to limit you to 2,000.
Right.
They're going to send you that congratulatory note saying how wonderful you are, raising your credit from 2,000 to 3,000.
Yes.
Right. And do you know what the average American public does?
They will go out
They go,
there.
yes, big
Go out
screen.
there and-
Absolutely.
Wow. Yeah.
Right, they don't go.
Shopping spree.
Right, they
Yeah.
don't go, well, okay, that's great. I'm going to keep it where it is. I have that,
Yeah.
right, I have
don't
that
do that.
discipline.
Right, right.
They think big screen. I'm
Wow.
going, man.
Oh, yes.
Super Bowl was last week. I'm going to get my TV. I got the
Exactly.
ready, right? So if it's
Talking
if it's
about
there,
that, I really need to mention this because sometimes we work very hard to help the consumer, build up their credit to the level
right.
to buy a home, not to go and start buying cars and big.
Wow.
You don't comfort that.
we
that-
work very, very hard.
Right.
Once
They-
you bring them to the level where they can, get mortgage, all of a sudden now my car,
Right. That's
not what we are trying
right.
to do here.
And that's a great point. 'Cause that's what
That's a
happens,
great
right?
point.
A lot of times,
Great
right,
point.
folks that we set on that path, right, the path to home ownership, the path of credit repair.
Yes.
And people that have had credit challenges, all of a sudden we get them where they're in range, and all of a sudden they get credit card notices and they get car notices, and what they do because they haven't had it, right? Woo!
They get
right, I
carried
qualify,
away,
right? So they
then-
go use it, right? So we have to sit there and say, okay, this is the step to wealth accumulation, right?
Correct.
Step of wealth accumulation is repair the credit, and then
Buy.
you're ready to buy,
home.
right? So that's the motivation, right? The motivation isn't to get my credit where I need it to be so I can buy a car. The
No.
motivation is so I can get my
Car,
credit
as
where I
soon
need
as
to
you
buy.
drive it out of the lot,
Right. buy
you
the
know,
house
it wants-
first.
Yeah,
Right, buy the house
depreciation,
first,
but
yeah.
ours,
Right, you have a house
We
that's going
always
up in
go up.
value, right? It's always going up in the value. You're paying your place to live. You're not making
Yeah.
your landlord rich. You're making yourself rich.
Yes.
Once you do that, then you can buy the car, right?
Yes.
So we need to make sure that path is clearly outlined, and that's where you need to coach,
Exactly.
right?
Absolutely.
That's where Leon and Comfort would step in, and I would step in with MWR and help you
yes,
on that path. Everybody needs a mentor and a coach. Right?
yes. Let them know we have our own CPA and you know,
Yes.
to guide them,
Yes,
you
yes.
know, right from get go. Once they register at www.mwrfinancial.com.
/comfort buyers outreach.
Okay, tell them what they're gonna get. Like, you know, I mean, we have the CPA that will work with them, financial management,
Yes.
and all this
Yes.
attorney, everything that we guide you
Yes. Yes, we
to
also
where you need to be.
we also have, other than the Credit Max, we have the Equity Max program, which will
Yes.
help you to with all of your tax needs.
Yes.
We also have the Wealth Financial Wealth Building portion of our program.
Okay.
It's called Wealth Max, and that's for actually wealth building.
Yes.
And we also have a Money Max program as well. So it's really 4 services in one. And one other thing that I wanted to share with you is that another good thing about the Credit Max program is that we help. It's a restoration program, so we're able to help you not get back into the same situations
Situation.
that you originally were into.
That put you in
So,
the bad credit in the
Put you in
first
bad
place.
credit in the first place,
Yes.
which is another great.
Keep you, you know.
Absolutely. So
Well, and I think that's an important part of it. We talk about the coaching side, and where MWR can help is once you create that plan, then we can help you make the right decisions on the
Yes.
credit side, right?
Correct.
People make the wrong decision because they haven't been educated on how credit works, right?
Yes.
And that's not their fault, right? And unfortunately, you have forces in the financial services sector because their business model is to get you to lend more money or borrow more money, right?
Yes.
Correct.
And they want to lend more money.
correct.
That's credit cards, cars, right? So we don't have goal congruency, right? They want to lend it to you at a high interest rate, and you're happy to take it because, like you said, you're using it to supplement income now. And the problem is, using credit is perfect. You can't get by without it. You just need to know how to use it and
Correct.
stay within a budget that helps you. And then using the credit in a way that better suits you than suits the lender, right?
Correct.
And the part of the coaching side of it is, you have to have somebody understand what you're really using your credit for, right?
Absolutely.
Because there may be times I could tell you take a higher interest rate credit, but don't take one that charges a fee. Because if you don't use it or you pay it off monthly, and if you pay off the credit card monthly, you don't pay interest on it, then you want to. It's okay to have a higher interest credit card that doesn't charge a fee. But if you're going to use it, then I'd say get one that charges a fee because you got a lower credit card. If you're going to use it, right? So that's the strategy where you need somebody to help you line your credit and have it aligned with the way you're going to
Okay.
use it, right?
Correct.
And-
Have your priority in order so
Right.
that you don't do the last thing first, car first, and then, you know,
Right,
you
and
can
then
get a mortgage.
Right, and then your
And
budget
then-
side, and
Budget side.
and with the Credit Max, it tells you, it gives you guidance on what you should pay off first, based on
Absolutely.
interest and tax,
Exactly.
whether it's tax favored or not, right? So we can identify what you pay off first to get your credit score where it is. So there's all kinds of challenges that you have with it, and I think it's just not knowing. So the first thing I would tell everybody here is, don't wait, right? Don't be bashful. Don't be upset because you're not alone. Like I said, if you're under 39, 40% of you are out there with the same challenge, right? But the longer you wait, the more difficult it gets, right? Because first off,
Exactly.
waiting doesn't stop you from doing what you're doing now. That's creating the
No.
challenge, right?
Wow, that's
Right. So
true.
right, because right now you haven't done anything to steer your course in another direction, right?
Correct.
So the first thing you need to do, and this is everybody, and I really don't care what your credit score could be 100, doesn't matter, right? Because there is a path that we can create for you to get you where you want to get to, and we
That's
work in
right.
partnership to get there.
That's right.
So the first thing you need to do is just kind of reach out and say, okay, we're not going to judge, right? Because
No,
we've seen it
far
all.
from it.
Absolutely, we've seen it
Far
all.
from
We've
it.
experienced it all, right?
Exactly.
So,
People approach me all the time.
Sure.
I want to buy a home,
Wow.
but
Right.
my credit is bad.
And-
now we are, providing you all the tools and the information, and we are guiding you to your dream home. This is the first step, you cannot get anywhere, you know. I mean, without a good credit.
Right.
At least 600 score. So start from MWR. Once you are credit worthy, then you go to my, well knowledgeable loan officer here. He's been doing this since he was 7 years old.
Way too long, exactly. So
I can vouch for him. You know, he knows his product, and he's been teaching, financial classes for a while since I was a baby.
So exactly right, because I'm much older than you are, Kevin.
So once you get your credit score where it needs to be to be credit worthy to buy a house, then talk to the loan officer, and he will get you pre-approved.
Right, and I think that's what's nice about what we have here as a partnership. One of the things and you may have tried it before, right? And you pulled a credit, and the loan officer just said, "Hey, your credit's not where it needs to be. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Go on your way."
No,
right?
we don't judge.
No.
That's not what we're all about.
What we're looking for is, look, I can tell you right now,
If you
everybody
are motivated.
right, everybody out there, we want to help you become a homeowner, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
if you're out there and you're sitting there and you're thinking your credit might be a little challenged and homeownership isn't within your reach, what we want to tell you is come on in, because the reality is you have 3 people here that are going to get you on that right path, that
Yes.
get you on the path to homeownership, right?
correct.
The only thing you need to understand, though, is some of you are
Work
going to
with
be
us.
immediate, right?
Yes.
It's going to be immediate. Look, we do these 2 things, you're right where you want to be.
Yes.
Some of you, we may have to sit down and say, okay, right, here is your credit path and your path to approval, and it's going to be a 12-month ride, but we're going to work together, right? We're going to work together. We're going to stay motivated. We're going to celebrate the successes every month of getting you one step closer to home ownership. And it's not just home ownership. Obviously, I think that's important because I think that's your financial future, but it's student loans, it's cars, it's employment.
Anything.
Right? It's all of those things now. People
Bankruptcy.
look at credit.
Yes.
Correct.
I mean, whatever you have there, we will have professionals. That's all they do. Credit restoration. They are here to help you. So first thing first, if you have a challenge credit, go online, give them the website again.
The website again is mwrfinancial.com/Comfort Buyers Outreach.
And you register, and then you are entitled to 3 free credit reports. And once you get those free credit report, you pass it to the
Yeah.
person.
Yeah,
Tell them.
you upload them into their system,
Okay.
the Credit Max system,
Yes.
and one of the professionals in the office will take care of. That's the only thing that you have to do is initially get your 3 credit reports, not the scores, but the reports. Upload them into the Credit Max system,
Yes.
and the system will take care of the rest.
You don't have to do anything, just for a fee. Once you upload your credit reports and you hand it to the professional, they will take it from there and they will guide you. We have CPA, we have
Tax professionals.
tax professional. Tell them
And these are all unlimited services.
unlimited until
Unlimited.
you get your credit score where it needs to be. And once you get to where you need to be, you can cancel the membership anytime. Once you
It's pay as you go.
pay as you go. Once you reach your goal, you are free. We are just trying to get you to where you need to be so that you can get finance, so that you can get mortgage, so that you can, increase your wealth, so that you can be where you need to be. Because there's a lot of incentives out there, that people don't know about. I'm talking about thousands of dollars in grants, not loan.
Wow.
Grants.
Wow.
Grants.
Right.
Look at that.
Loan you have to pay back. Grants you don't have to pay it back from the government. Tell them about all the grants, but you cannot go anywhere without credit.
Piece.
Right. So, for example, for this program, we have the Buy Ahead Homes. We have up to $18,000
Grants,
in grant money available for
not loan.
not loans. It's forgiven the day you go to settlement. Right. It's up to $18,000. It's basically free money.
Free.
You have to be a first-time home buyer, right? Because it's
First-time
designed to be a
homebuyer.
first home buyer
Yes.
part.
Okay.
You have to make under $156,000 in PG County and Montgomery
Exactly.
County.
Okay.
In Anne Arundel County, because it's in the Baltimore marketplace, their adjusted median income's a little lower. It's $126,000. But right now, what I can tell you, everybody that's watching this program, if you're paying rent and you can work with us to get your credit score above 620, there's $18,000 in grant money ready for you, available. That we have.
Not a loan, grant.
It's a grant money. It's forgiven.
You
Last
don't
month,
have to pay it back.
we gave out $162,000 worth of grant money for folks looking to buy their first home.
First-time home buyer.
First-time home buyers, right?
great
And
information.
they got $18,000. They used it for their down payment, which means people had to come up with what? Nothing.
Nothing,
Wow.
zero.
Right. So let me ask you, how many
But you
people,
have to get your credit straightened out
So-
so that you can be qualified.
how many people out there today would like to buy a home that have no money?
A lot.
A lot,
A lot.
right?
A
That's the
lot.
answer, right? There's 400 people out there going, yeah, that's me, right?
Right, right.
Because
You're talking about
here's
me.
what we know. When I started in business in 1985, the two biggest obstacles to home ownership were two things. It was cash to close and credit.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we didn't have credit scores in, but credit was still a challenge, right?
Yes.
For a lot of the same reasons, right? People didn't know what to do and how to do it, and credit cards were coming into play, and
Right.
automobile loans, and they didn't understand how it works, so credit was a challenge, and people didn't have money. So fast forward to 2017. Do you know what the two biggest obstacles to home ownership today are? Exactly the same thing. Cash to close and credit.
Okay.
That's it, right? It hadn't changed.
Wow.
32 years, it's exactly the same thing,
Look at that.
right? That people don't have the money that's needed for down payment, right, or closing costs, and people are still struggling with credit. 1985 to 2015, it's like that movie Back to the Future, right? Boom, it's exactly the same.
Wow.
So when you talk about it, right, a lot of people are sitting out there thinking, okay, my credit doesn't allow me to buy a home. That's wrong. It's just when, right? But you have to take the first step, right?
Yeah.
You have to understand that, it's there for you. What you need to do is pick up the phone and make sure that you understand that you can create a path to home ownership and create a path to credit repair by taking some of the steps and getting a partner that's going to help you get from point A to point B, because
Yes.
you can't do it alone, right? I've seen a lot of people try and fail by themselves, right? They're not getting the right information. They don't have the discipline to follow it because they don't have a coach or mentor, right? We talk about in life, people need Michael Jordan, greatest basketball player ever, had a mentor, right?
Yes.
And a coach.
That's
right?
why
It's
he
just-
was so
right,
successful.
Successful business people always
Yes.
have a mentor and a coach. What's the same thing here, right? Where do you get a credit coach?
MWR.
Well, exactly. That's where you
Real
get it, right?
Financial.
You need that. It's there for you, right? That's something that you need. Everybody needs that mentor to get them in the right spot. And then the same thing on home ownership, right? It's very difficult today to save money to buy a home, right? The average rent in DC is $2,190. Average car payment's over $500, and you get no tax benefit. And your
know.
credit card rate's 22%. How are you saving money? You're not, right? That's why people have no money.
Right.
So this grant program is designed for folks that are under 140% of the AMI. So in PG County, 156,000. They can buy a house up to $453,000 with
Wow.
no down payment.
Wow.
We'll give them a 3.5% grant
Okay.
to allow them to buy the home, which covers their down payment, and then you get the seller to help them with the closing costs, so effectively they can get in. Now, and we talk about tax, right? Two greatest theft of wealth, right? Not understanding the tax code, not understanding credit.
Correct.
Right about now to May, what is the average American family really excited to get?
Tax return.
Tax refund, right? That's a big thing, right? So, one of the things I tell people is, how about we use your 2017 tax refund to create a bigger tax refund in 2018?
Okay.
What do you mean, Mr. Carter? What are you talking about? Well, if it's $2,000-$3,000 and I have a grant of $18,000, you can take your tax refund and the grant I'm going to give you and buy a home. And if you're renting and you go to buy, in 2018, what do you get when you own a home? You get a mortgage interest deduction, you get a property tax deduction,
Yes.
right? If you're taking those deductions, that means your 2018 refund is going to be what? Bigger than your 2017.
Yes.
Right, so instead of taking your refund and going on vacation, or taking your refund and buying a big screen,
That's right.
or taking your
Fix
refund
your
and buying a
credit.
car,
Buy
right?
a house.
Right. Use your refund to get a bigger refund
Refund,
and
right.
start that wealth accumulation, right?
Yes, yes,
Too
yes,
many
yes.
people get excited about the refund and they just let it go away.
They do.
You go on
And-
vacation.
They go on vacation, you buy
Right.
stuff, you do whatever. But here's what's funny: we talk about people don't understand credit and people don't understand taxes. And I can prove it to everybody on this broadcast. You can prove the average American public doesn't understand taxes because all you got to do is ask them one question, right? At the end of April, you just ask a question: did you pay taxes last year? And they'll give you one or two answers. Nope, I didn't pay taxes. I got money back. Oh, isn't that special? Do you realize that a third of your paycheck was going every
They
week
give you-
to pay the taxes
That's
that you didn't pay?
exactly
Right. So their answers are one or two things.
Talking of your
Did you pay taxes? Yep, I had to pay $3,000. Well, wait a minute, no, you paid 30, but it wasn't enough, so they needed more. Or you paid too much, and they gave you money back. But because of the way withholdings work, right? Taxes aren't important to people until they get a refund or they don't get a refund.
Right.
Right? So they don't care. They're not every week. They're not looking at how much they paid taxes. What they're looking at, like they look at their credit card statement, they're looking at their net payment. In taxes, they're looking at their net paycheck. They don't realize a third of it is going to taxes.
That's exactly
right. That's a dirty little trick the government pays on us, right? Because if we had to write a check every week for how much it taxes, people would be up in arms.
They would be.
About what taxes really are, right? Whatever's going on in Congress and tax reform, blah 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 blah. You know, that's way up here, so people don't pay attention to it, right? Government knows that because it's really withholdings, right? Because they're not asked to write a check every Friday to the U.S. government,
right?
If you got paid $2,000 a week and you had to write a check to the government for $600 out of your $2,000, you'd be pretty mad,
You would
right?
be.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
about the third Friday, you're writing that check to the government. You're going, what am I getting for this, right?
Right.
Well, the government counts on that because they know it doesn't matter to you because we are a net check society. We worry about what gets into my bank account, and that's what I budget off of, and I really forget what happens with holdings. So what does that lead us to? It leads us to when we get our tax refund, it's either I paid taxes or I didn't. Most people didn't pay taxes, they get money back. So I'll use Nancy Pelosi, right? That's the crumbs that you get back, and you feel good about it because you got a tax refund. And then, well, I didn't have to pay anything. Shoo! Well, you paid all year.
You did.
Right? So, when we talk about things that are thefts of wealth are just that, where not understanding how the tax code works, a third of your paycheck's gone. Now, if I'm paying rent, right, I get no benefit. However, if I'm making a $2,000 mortgage payment and I'm in the 25% tax bracket, I can get a $300 to $400 a month credit on a tax benefit because that mortgage interest is deductible.
Yes.
Now I've saved $200 to $300, right? Because I'm still paying to live somewhere,
Correct.
but now I'm paying for my benefit and I get the tax benefit of it.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
right, so not understanding, when we look at the tax piece, when we talk about it and get a better understanding of how taxes work, I think people are just so used to the net. We're a net economy, right? It's my net payment, what's the minimum, and it's my net, what I get in my check, and everything else is immaterial to me. It's what's in my bank account, what leaves my bank account.
Right.
When things start going from my check and I don't know about it, then I don't really pay attention to it.
Yes.
Right. So
Out of sight, out of
out of
mind.
sight, out of mind. And the government does that on purpose,
And they
right?
do.
Because,
All
like I said,
intentional.
if you were writing a check every week, then the Democrats and Republicans would have to really solve the tax problem because you'd have 350 million Americans going, hey,
That's right.
why am I writing you a check every week, right? Because that's really what we're doing. We just don't
That's
know
right.
it.
That's right. That's right.
So, not understanding where you need a coach to say, you know what? And this is where your consumer debt's a problem, right? You're paying 22%, it's non-tax favored. That's just money that's gone away,
Yes.
right? So, to
Money
make it
going
really
down the
simple, right?
drain.
We talk about Credit Max. To make it real simple, if I have a $200 credit card payment, right, and it's at 22% and it's non-tax favored, right, I probably have to earn $260 to make that $200 payment because I got to pay the $60 in taxes
Right.
to net the $200. So it's not just the interest rate; it's also the cost of taxes that I had to make that $200 payment. Now, if it's a mortgage payment, right, a $200 mortgage payment to a $200 credit card payment, I only have to make $200 to make the mortgage payment because it is tax deductible.
Yes.
So there's a $60 delta, right? Now, who can that $60 go to? You. Right? So we talk about the Credit Max and understanding how to allocate the credit so you can find ways when we talk about Wealth Max, right? And we talk about
Yes.
step one, fixing your credit. Step two is building that wealth. So once your debt is positioned properly, right? And we know we've reduced your cost of carry. We've reduced the non-tax favorable component of the debt. We've improved your tax position, right? Those are things that puts more money in your pocket.
Yes.
Once you put more money in your pocket, what can you do with it? You can invest it in your future, right?
Yes.
You can now 'cause-
Own a home.
own a home, right?
Absolutely.
You're right. You can put money to buying a home.
Yes.
And then once you buy a home, you get tax benefit there. Then what can you do?
Yes.
You can put money in your prime reserve
Or
account. You can
become
put some
an
things-
investor.
Absolutely.
Right, you become an investor, right? The challenge.
Buy
is
more
people-
properties, refurbish it,
Right.
put it back on the market. But the first thing first, you have to make sure your credit is.
You gotta
know,
get your credit right,
Gotta
right?
get your
Right.
credit right.
And part of the discussion is that it impacts everything, right?
Yes.
So just finding money to invest can be
Yes.
simply just reallocating how your credit is.
Yes.
Exactly.
Right. So we can tell people, right? You go to MWR, you start with Credit Max. Next thing is the wealth part. We can show you how to build your financial future without changing one penny of what you currently earn and spend.
No.
Exactly.
If you're paying $2,000 a month of rent, we can show you how to own a house for $2,000 a month.
Less than $2,000.
Right, less than $2,000 a month rent because you're going to get
Maybe
tax benefit. Of,
$1,200,
right. Exactly. So same money going out of your pocket,
Yes.
but I can make it cheaper for you, and then you can do what? Start building wealth.
Start building wealth.
Same thing with understanding how your credit is allocated, right?
Yes.
We can take that same, and just by moving the credit around with a Credit Max piece, we can improve your scores, which is going to
Yes.
lower your cost of credit, right?
Yes.
The better the score, the lower the interest rate, right?
Yes.
So part of that credit repair is getting that score up so interest rates drop. We talked about it on our slide, right? It costs you things that you don't know because you don't know.
That's right.
But once you do that, then that's going to give you more money in your pocket. So after you own your home and you have more money in your pocket, what can you do? You can start saving for the future. Here's a staggering fact. The majority of Americans, right, baby boomers heading towards retirement, have less than $10,000 in retirement savings.
Wow.
Exactly. Wow. Right? Why? Because they're paying 22% credit card, right? They're renting and not owning,
I know.
right? They're doing things because no one taught them to do that, and it's very hard, right? We live in a very high cost area, right? DC is a great place to be. I grew
Oh,
up here,
yes.
but you know the cost of living here isn't Iowa, right? And there's a reason. So, but that means we have to be smarter in what we do and how we start to build that path for financial freedom for ourselves.
Correct.
First step is credit. Second step is home ownership. Third step then is reallocating cash flow so I can build it for myself. But you've got to do it in that order, right? You've got to get your credit right. Then you got to own a home, right? For those of you, because I know a lot of millennials are sitting out there going, well, you know, home ownership is, you know, I'd rather rent. You're never going to build wealth renting. It's never going to happen.
And that's going to happen.
Right. Well, I guess let me qualify that. You're actually going to build wealth if you're renting. For the
For the
landlord.
landlord.
That's
Yeah.
right. For the
For the
landlord.
landlord.
That's right.
Landlord's really happy, right? So landlord's
So-
going, yes, make that rent payment.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
so yes,
And
you're
they
gonna,
only have 30 days to evict
right,
you.
right. You're gonna,
Even if you live there for
are you gonna live there
100
forever?
years.
Miss a
Wow.
payment, right?
Yeah, if
Wow.
you miss a payment, 30 years,
Sure.
it's not yours.
Right,
You
it's
just
not
helping
yours.
the landlord pay his mortgage.
Right. That's
Why not own?
why not own? And so you make the landlord happy. You're building wealth for them. Build wealth for yourself. And here's what the other trick is, and this is another banking secret, but you know, a lot of people say, well, you know, I don't want to be hung to a mortgage because, you know, what if I can't make my payment?
Move.
You're much safer with a mortgage
Mortgage
because the
than-
lender's going to work with you
Oh, yes.
if you get behind.
Yes.
A landlord is not.
See,
Right.
Yeah, miss your rent payment.
Right.
Like Comfort said, you've been there 30 years, you miss your rent payment, landlord's going, excuse me, where's my check? No check, get out. Right? So, you know, right. But as a
You're right.
mortgage company, right,
Right.
they're going to work with
Yeah.
you because they don't want to take the house back.
Right.
Mortgage companies don't want to foreclose.
no.
They're going to work with you, right? They're going to say, okay, what's happening? How do we make it work? Do we need a forbearance agreement? So
Right.
you're always much safer as
Owning.
a homeowner.
As a homeowner.
Yeah, absolutely. Because look, the reality is you got to
It's
pay to live
cheaper.
somewhere. Right. And you
It's
got to pay to live
cheaper.
somewhere.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. Yes.
Unless you live in mom and dad's basement, right? You got to pay to live somewhere, right?
Right.
Yes.
My mom and dad spent about 30 years trying to get me out of the house. They're not.
You think
gonna
they
let me
want you
in.
back?
Heck no. I already know that. So we already know that there's no going home, right?
Oh,
So,
right. That's right.
matter of fact, I told my daughters that they're going to college, you know, once you leave,
Bye-bye.
you know, there's no coming back, right? So you're flying, right? You're out on your own, right?
Yes,
You don't need to come back to the nest.
I know.
So, you know, this is a true story. So I graduated college. I came back. I moved in with my dad. And my dad and I are super close. And my dad was in real estate, and you know, we're really tight. So I was home for a month, started working. The next month, he gives me the house coupon, right? He goes, you need to go drop the payment off at the bank. I said, okay. I said, good. Give me the check. He goes, I'm not giving you a check. You're here now. Start paying the rent. so I'm like,
Wow.
exactly.
Yes.
Right. So I'm like, okay, Dad. If I'm going to do that, then I'm going to go find my own. Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was a life experience.
Yeah.
Right? So,
Yeah.
true story.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
It was 800. Well, this was 1986. It was only 800 and some dollars back then, right?
$800.
Well, yeah, it was huge. It was my entire work month, right? This is. I'm done paying for you. If you want to stay here, this is what your cost is, right? You go drop off the payment.
Oh my God.
Exactly. I started looking for a house the next day. He was
know you did.
right. He was in the real estate business, so he helped me
Right.
find a house. Right. I bought my house, and it was a VA assumption, but I went in early and looked to buy the first house, and it was great. But
Wow.
he
That
kinda,
was a very good learning
oh, good.
experience.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was.
absolutely.
It was.
Right. So he pushed
Never
me out of
forgot
that
it.
early.
He sure
Never
did.
forgot it, right? But so I also know that I'm not going back, right? Because if I go back, the house payments are probably a lot bigger, and he's going to hand me the
Right.
coupon again.
Right. $800.
Exactly. Here it is now.
Yes, yes.
Hey, I'm glad to have you home, Brett. Here. We're going to go take that, right? So it's but those are the things that
Yes, yes.
we have and we need to learn. So really, you're paying to live somewhere, right? You're paying the government. So so the three things I think should happen is the landlord money should become your money,
Yes.
right? To make the payment for yourself.
Yes.
The federal government has enough of my money,
That's
right? So I should look at ways to get it back, right? So if I'm making myself rich, not the landlord rich, then I get tax benefit of it because I get tax deduction. And then the third part is banks have enough of my money, right? So if I can look at ways that I can reduce the cost of the employment of my money, which is what credit really is, right? It's the cost of employment of money. So what you got to do is you got to think of it that way, right? Am I employing money for the right cost, right? 22% non-tax rate, which is probably not the right employment cost for
Probably
money, if you can lower it, right? And then the next part is because, look, if we're going to be fair,
Yes.
right, depending on where you are in the credit, sometimes that might be the only credit you can get. That's not a bad thing, but we got to work to get out of that arena into the more A credit arena, into the
Correct.
really A credit arena. So
Correct.
every step that you take, the credit gets better,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Because then that gets you where you need to get to, and that's just a function of time. And, ladies and gentlemen, a mentor, right? Because I can tell you with 100% confidence, you can't do it on your own.
No.
You just can't, right? It just
No.
doesn't happen.
We have the professionals to handle, from the get-go all the way to where you need to be. So I implore you, everyone watching today, if you have a challenge credit, nobody has the B. We don't use the B word. Nobody has a
Nobody
bad-
has. Nobody
That's
has
right.
credit.
We
No,
don't do
no,
that.
no.
We don't-
We don't talk about the B word. That's a curse word. So if you have challenge credit, the first step, because you can buy anything. There's no point in me showing you houses that you cannot afford. And I wish I'm like Oprah Winfrey or somebody. I can just give everybody that needs one. You guys,
That makes three of us, right? I go to Oprah show, I get a
Yeah.
car,
You
That's
got a
right.
car, you got a
That's
house,
right.
and you got a house.
Yeah.
You got a house, you got a house.
Yes.
Boy,
But,
isn't she amazing? I mean, so I grew up in D.C., but I remember Oprah
Baltimore.
being on just local Baltimore stations.
Yeah.
Just a phenomenal lady, right?
Yes.
Just a phenomenal woman and a business powerhouse.
Oh,
And-
yes.
But just watching her grow from just a
Baltimore, right?
right,
There
just
you go.
basically a cub reporter
That's
exactly
in
right.
Baltimore, right? Starting as just a street level reporter,
That's
to
exactly right.
talk host.
Probably
Boom.
like you and I.
Wow.
She's the
maybe
most
Yeah.
powerful media person on the planet.
in the
She is.
world.
Right, absolutely.
In the
And it's
world.
amazing. I mean, and she's terribly smart.
And-
she's charismatic,
Yeah.
and she's so much fun to watch. But
Yes.
it's just kind of neat.
Yeah.
But it also goes to show you, right? If you set that path and you set a plan,
Yeah.
look at what you accomplish, right?
Wow.
Yes.
Well, it's the same
That's
thing
exactly
here,
right.
right?
Whatever
You can be the
you
Oprah
can-
of home ownership.
Yes.
Exactly.
You can
yes.
start,
Why not?
Right, you can start right here with with maybe a challenge,
Yes.
and we get through that challenge,
Yes.
and then you're on home,
Yes.
and then you're at that's really the start for you and your family, right?
Exactly.
Exactly.
And we're here to show you how.
Right.
First thing first, go to the website.
And the
And-
website is mwrfinancial.com/Comfort Buyers Outreach.
Okay, and you register. We have a professional that's gonna work on your behalf. Once you get your 3 credit report, You don't have to do anything. We have our own CPA, we have our own financial managers, we have everybody that will guide you and, you know, tells you what needs to be done to be credit worthy so that you can talk to Mr. Carter, you can get a loan, and then you can buy a house. So once you know, get to where your credit needs to be, then you can come and talk to me, because I don't just sell HUD homes. I sell all homes. If you have a property out there that you want to sell, you can contact me. My number again is 202-251-0605. And you can reach me on comfortrealtor.com, at gmail.com. And then I have my website, www.comfortrealtor.com. So, you know, we are out here to help you. And there's nothing like bad credit. Just follow the steps, the baby step, straighten out your credit. There's a whole lot of incentives out there. HUD is trying to promote owner occupancy, okay? And then there's a lot of programs, even for the Good Neighbor Next Door.
Sure.
For firefighters, and those are the police officers, teachers employed full time from pre-K to 12K. If the house is like 300,000, you have to pay 150,000, which is a very good incentive. So, and for first-time home buyers, a lot of grants, not loan. Grants, you don't have to pay it back, but you have to do the first thing first. Start from the beginning, straighten out your credit. If you can get $18,000, $19,000, even up to $45,000 in grants. And I said grant, not loan. You don't have to pay it back.
Right. You know, one of the things we talk about the grant money. It's nice when you don't have to overcome two challenges, right? So if we sit there and we say right now, for everybody that is watching the show, and you want to buy your first home, there's $18,000 in what we call the FDM grant that's available for you to buy a home. All you have to do is get your credit above 620. So a lot of times the lender says, okay, you got to get your credit and then get the money. Well, here's what I can tell you right now. If you get the credit, the money's ready for you.
Yes.
Right? So, did you guys ever see the movie Jerry Maguire?
Yes.
Okay, what's the...
Show me the money.
Right, what's the most famous line from that movie?
Show me the money.
Show me the money. Okay, well, I'm going to show you the money right now. If you get to 620, I'm showing you the money. There's $18,000 ready for you to buy your first home.
Grant. You don't have to pay it back.
Forgiven the day it closes, $18,000 up to $18,000, right? It's right if you're buying a lower priced home, right? We go up to 4% of the purchase price.
Okay.
So you know if it's
Plus,
right, if it's a
PG.
$100,000 loan, it's only it's $4,000, right?
Right.
You buy a $453,000 loan, it's $18,000, right? So it's up to $18,000 in grant money available for you. And by the way, there's hundreds of listings of homes under $453,000 in the D.C. area. We're talking about Charles, Calvert, Prince George's County, Montgomery County, Anne Arundel County, Howard County. There's a lot of opportunity for you to buy within that price range, right? So it's perfect. So all you have to do now is you don't have to worry about the money. You just need to focus on what?
Getting your credit.
Right. So two of the hurdles, you only need to worry about one. Right.
Wow.
Talking about motivation. If I get at 620, I'm showing you the money.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I feel like who would you?
And that's from
show me the
your,
money.
Yes.
that's from your lender. That's from Fidelity.
That's us, right.
Fidelity Direct. PG County have $10,000 grant, and State of Maryland also have $5,000 in grant.
There's multiple grants that you can possibly stack upon that. Now you have to get, but
yeah.
you
Can stack 'em.
Well, you have to be careful. Some allow you to stack, some don't. Right. So that's why you'd have to work with me to sit there and say, okay, depending on what grant program you're in, right? Because they'll let you stack, some won't, right? But you may not necessarily need to stack, right? So the $18,000 grant I have is just forgiven, right? Sometimes the state of Maryland isn't forgiven. It's forgiven over a 5-year time period, but if you sell it earlier, you got to pay it back. That's why you got to work with us to sit down and say, okay, what grant is applicable for you? Right? Prince George's County has Pathways to Home Ownership. That's a $10,000 grant, right? Can we stack those two? Probably, right? So there's things that you can do depending on where you are, right, to help you do that. But you've got to work with a lending partner to help you get there.
Okay.
You hear that, folks? Like I said, I'm a realtor. I don't do loans. But it's of no use for me to be showing you houses that I know you cannot afford. So but once you start from MWR and you register and they help you with the mentor and the coach, they help you straighten out your credit. Then you talk to the lender. Once you have your pre-approval letter in one hand And the NS money deposit, I recommend HUD homes because HUD homes is only
So much
1,000.
value.
So much value,
Right.
and the NS money deposit is just $1,000.
Right.
If it's over 50,000. But if you have any other property out there, you know, you have to pay 3%.
Right. So it could be a bigger number.
It could be a
Right.
bigger number. That is the only reason I recommend HUD homes. And there's, you know, it's foreclosure. So, you know, but if you start right, you do the right thing, follow, you know, make the baby step first, straighten out your credit. There's a lot of incentives out there waiting for you once you get your credit score up to 620.
Right.
And we have, you know, life coach and everybody that, you know, all you have to do is just sit back, and within a couple of months, your credit will be where it needs to be.
Right.
I really want to thank you guys for watching us today. And again, I wish you a very happy Valentine's Day, happy Ash Wednesday to all my Christian brothers and sisters out there. And I want to thank Mr. Carter
thank you.
of Fidelity Direct Mortgage, and Mr. Copeland from MWR for joining us today. See you next week, and if you have any other question you want to share with them,
Running out of time.
share